Hello, Moonbeams, and welcome back to my channel. This is Donna Cass, and you are here at the Mystic Moon School channel. And we are back this week, June 10th through the 16th. As you know, I do these mooncasts every Monday because Monday is Moon Day. And we have a really incredible week ahead, honestly, I think. The astrology is looking really beautiful. The moon herself is feeling super empowered. And, of course, the moon represents and I believe beams the astrological energies to us straight to our heart space, because the moon is representative of our emotional world. And that is the heart space, right? It's not the mind, it is the heart. It is how we feel. It is how we feel our emotions, all of them. And so when I was casting the charts for this week and looking through all of the energies, the theme that was coming through is your strong, confident, and healed sense of self is here. She is here. He is here. And so I'm going to jump right into it. Let's see. I'm going to move to the next slide. Oh, yes, of course. Happy solar return, Geminis. I know a couple of Geminis in my personal life, and I want to wish them beautiful, happy birthdays and a happy solar return. And if you are interested in getting a solar return chart done with me, I do all of my readings on Zoom. They are quite in depth. The solar return reading is really incredible. I've been doing them for myself and my daughters for many years now, and they are always spot on. Everything in the chart changes except for the sun. And so it's really fascinating to look at your solar return chart to see the energies that are at play for you in this coming year, right? And so, again, it's just like all of this astrological work that we do, it's all about sharpening our self-awareness and how do we work best and in our most empowered states with these energies. So if you are interested in having your solar return chart done or starting with a natal chart reading, hop on over to my website and you can book those there. Okay. And if you are listening today, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. And if you find this helpful and supportive, I would really appreciate if you left me some comments, because it does help the algorithms. It helps the channel to grow and be seen by more people who can feel supported by this information. Okay, so let's get into it. So if you are going to take notes, you may want to hit pause, grab your journal. If you haven't already, I suggest you buy yourself a beautiful moon journal. And so this can be your weekly ritual. Every week, come on Monday or Monday evening after work and sit down with a delicious cup of something. I made myself cacao this morning, and so I'm still enjoying that as I am going to share this podcast with you. But you can make yourself something delicious to drink, a little snack, a little piece of chocolate or fruit, and get out your moon journal and take notes for the week ahead, so that you are really self-aware and forearmed about the energies that are coming in for us. Okay. So, your strong, confident, and healed sense of self is here. She is here. He is here, showing up really strongly right out of the gate this week, because Mama Moon is in the sign of Leo. And Leo, right, the lion. Leo is ruled by the sun. And I always think of the solar plexus chakra right at our core, our place of confidence and strength, courage, our self-esteem, right? Our core sense of self. And so when the moon is in Leo, she is confident. She is strong. And she has a very strong sense of self. And today on Monday, June 10th, there is only one aspect the moon is making today. And she is trining the north node. And so today, this is really, I mean, in my view, magnificent energy of knowing, feeling connected to your destined path forward. You are feeling confident today. You are feeling confident in your path ahead. Now, that doesn't mean, right, that we know how it's all going to unfold, how it's all going to play out, what every single next step is going to be. That is okay. As you will notice from listening to my podcast, I will reference from time to time Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz, following that yellow brick road. That to me is the North Node, that golden path ahead. It twists and it turns, and you will meet the people you're meant to meet on this path, and you will ultimately achieve and arrive at your destination, which is your true authentic self, right? Because isn't that what Dorothy discovers? Is that Glinda the Good Witch says to her, you've had it in you all along, right? And all you wanted was to come home, but coming home is coming home to self. And so this is so beautiful today, that Mama Moon in Leo shining a light on that golden yellow brick road ahead of you, that North Node. That is the North Node. That is your path ahead. The trine that she is making to the North Node. Remember, trines are very flowing, easy, graceful energy. And so just flow into your day today and ride these energies for as long as you can. Because remember, the North Node, your destined path ahead, is in Aries. And Aries is all about the self. The strong, assertive, confident, independent, authentic sense of self. That is Aries energy. That is Leo energy. And so we have two beautiful fire signs all lit up today to start our week. And I am just loving this energy with Mama Moon today. So the other aspects I would like to touch upon that I feel are important today is that Mercury, the sign of communication, the way we think, our thoughts, beliefs, is also trining the North Node. I'm sorry, sextiling the North Node, trining the South Node. And so those are both very supportive aspects, right? You don't have to remember these terms. Just know that this is supportive energy. And so when Mercury is at play here, with the South Node, it is what we are releasing. In this case with Mercury, it might be what we are remembering from times past, from our youth. Mercury can also represent youth and our times when we were young. And so we may be feeling like we can let some things go from our past today. You may have some thoughts around that today. Just let them go with love and grace. And then when we do that simultaneously, we will be able to then open up our minds, Mercury, and either think or communicate with others what our destined path ahead is, what it is looking like now to us, the clarity that we have around this path ahead. The other big aspect happening today, and really is going to be playing out for a while because it's between Jupiter and Pluto. And now that Jupiter is in Gemini, right, Jupiter does move quicker than Pluto, certainly, but not super quick. And so we will be playing with these beautiful energies between Jupiter and Pluto for a little while longer. And this is also in a trine. And so let me break this down for you, right? So Pluto is our planet of transformation and truth and evolving into our true authentic selves as well. And Pluto is going to take down at the knees anything in your life, in your mind, in your belief system that is not in integrity with your path ahead, with your ability to evolve and to expand your consciousness. If there is something in your life or within you, your belief system, the way that you think or communicate to yourself, the choices you're making, if these things are holding you back from where you need to be on your path going forward, Pluto is going to make that abundantly clear, and not always in a very easy and graceful way. But for a little while, it will feel more gentle because Jupiter is sending beautiful positive energy to Pluto, saying, okay, let's give everybody a little break and let's give them some good fortune. Let's try some positive reinforcement. That's what Jupiter is saying, right? To Pluto. Let's give them a little positive reinforcement to move in the right direction. What is that like? To redirect, right? To redirect, like that's very, that's conscious parenting, right? So instead of scolding and pointing out what they did wrong, you just want to redirect. That is what Jupiter is, the energies that Jupiter is beaming to Pluto, at least for this week and probably for the next couple of weeks, to help us, to support us in taking those steps forward by redirecting us in a positive way. And so I really love that energy for us. Now, I will say that Saturn is the planet of hard work, responsibility, sometimes obligation. Saturn is karma, right? Like, okay, you need to, you're going to reap what you sow with Saturn. You're going to, now karma is neither good nor bad, right? It's just consequential. Okay, right? So let's open up our understanding of that. It is not negative or positive. It is actually Newtonian if you think of it from a scientific viewpoint, right? For every action, there's a reaction. That is karma. And so Saturn is squaring Venus and the Sun today. So Saturn is wanting you to take a hard look at your values, right? How do you love yourself? That is what is coming through for me. Like, let's take a hard look at this. And that doesn't mean shame or guilting ourselves, right? Because that is not helpful. That pushes us deeper into shadow and strengthens the shadow. So we don't ever want to shame or guilt ourselves, or anyone else for that matter. What we want to do is just be responsible and accountable, right? And frankly, truthful with ourselves. That Jupiter and Pluto, both of those planets want the truth. And so let's be truthful with ourselves about what we value, and are we supporting our own values? Let's put it that way. Or are we neglecting our own values? Are we letting our values get crossed by ourselves or others, because Saturn is going to call us to task around that. Okay, Saturn is going to say, yeah, no, I don't think so. We need some boundaries here, right? Saturn is the boundary planet, okay, both physically in our solar system, okay, because Saturn is the bridge between the end of the personal planets and then the outer planets. And Saturn represents our 3D experience here on the planet Earth. And so he is the bounds, right? He is the bounds. And so when Saturn is squaring both Venus, how we relate to others and ourselves, and the Sun, our sense of self, Saturn is asking us, do we have healthy boundaries in place? And are we maintaining them? It's one thing to put up a boundary and to express that, and then it's another to continue to maintain it. You know, I had a situation where at the beginning of this year, I had put a budget in place on something in particular. It was this everyday expense, and this involved other people in my life. And then many months into the year, that boundary started to get pushed a little with that budget. And so this is what I'm talking about when we have to maintain our boundaries, right? It's not, there are very few things in life that are not dynamic, right? What is that expression? If there is nothing more constant than change, right? I don't know what is. It's ironic, but it's true. And so, yes, you can know what your boundaries are, and you can even speak your truth about them and instill them, but then you need to check in once in a while. And Saturn is asking us to do that today and for the next couple of days, really. So check in with your boundaries, with others, with yourself, around what you value, and see if it needs a little tweaking, if it needs a little refresh and a little maintenance. But overall, it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Now, there's one last aspect I'd like to discuss for Monday, and it's because it is exact today, but the energies will be playing out probably for most of the week. And this is a really difficult aspect. It's very challenging. And I have a feeling we may see this play out on the world stage, but we may also see it play out a little in our personal lives. And I did mention it in the podcast late last week into the weekend, and it is exact today, and that is Mars is squaring Pluto. Mars has just moved into Taurus yesterday, I believe, and Taurus is a grounded earth sign, okay? But in the low expressions, especially with Mars there, Taurus is that bull in the china shop, okay? Not knowing, not having awareness around its force and its power. And so I would ask that we are all extra mindful today and in the coming days of power dynamics with others that we have in our life, because Pluto, when it is being pushed into a corner, is going to come out kicking and punching and with great force. So Mars and Pluto, when they are in a square, which is a very challenging aspect, in the low expressions, it can be volatile. Now, squares are not always going to play out in the lower expressions. And what do I mean by that? So this is up to you. This is up to your vibration, your frequency. Are you operating at a lower frequency right now of anger and frustration, of wanting to have control and force others or even yourself into situations, into understandings, into dynamics, whatever it may be. Because those are the lower expressions of Mars and Pluto. If you have people in your life who embody these lower expressions, you may see this energy coming from them. And if you do, you want to rise above it. You don't want to react to that. You want to respond from a cool, centered, balanced place. Now, in the highest expressions, this square will act as a catalyst for action, for advocacy, and for assertiveness. It is righteous anger. Righteous anger. Anger in and of itself is not negative. It is the context, it is the way that we apply anger and the way that we allow it to move through us that makes all the difference. And so there is a time and a place for righteous anger. If you are the one being forced or manipulated or controlled by others, this is the opportunity for you to tap into that energy of empowerment and advocacy for yourself and allow some of that righteous anger to come up and out of you so that you can speak your truth. I'm not saying scream your truth. I'm saying speak it from a very firm, centered place where, you know what, you're just not going to be manipulated. You're just not going to be gaslit. You're just not going to be controlled or abused or forced any longer. It is my hope that for all of you listening, that this is what you can tap into with this Mars square Pluto today and into the rest of the week, and that you can remember this and remember that you are your own warrior. You defend yourself and you defend others who cannot defend themselves. And that is righteous. And that is empowerment. Okay. So let us move to the next day, Tuesday. So the moon is still going to be in Leo on Tuesday. And I'm just going to take a sip here. Tuesday is another really super empowered day. And while I was writing up this podcast, I felt this urge to reach for my Moonology Oracle deck. And this was actually my very first Oracle deck that I got back in, I think, 2018. And this is by Yasmin Boland. And it's her first Moonology deck. And I just felt really compelled to shuffle and pull a card. And this is a slide of the card that came out. And this really wanted to be seen. And of course, it was right when I was writing up Tuesday, which this is really spot on. The energy is gaining momentum. It's a waxing moon. And the moon is in her waxing phase now, because next week, next Friday, the 21st, is going to be the Capricorn full moon. And so the moon is every day waxing. She is getting brighter and brighter each day forward. And so this energy is gaining momentum. And the way that I really understood and read this card is that the energy is gaining momentum within you. This is not outside of yourself. This is the energy within you. This is your strong, confident, and healed sense of self that is emerging. It is gaining momentum every day forward and wanting to be seen and heard and felt. And so we have the moon in Leo is making 3 significant aspects on Tuesday. The first one is that the moon is trining Chiron. That's a beautiful supportive aspect to the wounded healer. And the wounded healer is within all of us, right? It is that place where we can go deep, go back, look at our original core wounds from childhood, unpack them, see their origination, right? And original sin is coming in for me right now. And so that is really the energy that I'm feeling around that with the wounded healer. I've never had this thought before, that the original sin is not sin as in associated with shame and guilt, but the sin that was planted within you so that you could heal it in this lifetime. Okay, so let's kind of unpack that a little bit, right? So it is the wounding, it is the original wounding, and we all have this. There's not a person on the planet that does not have an original core wound from their younger years. Because what do I always say? This is Earth School. We came here for this. This is how we evolve as individuals, and then we push that out to the collective consciousness, to all of humanity. That is why we are not still cavemen and women, because we have evolved. And we will continue to evolve by expanding our consciousness. And one of the ways that we do that, one of the main ways, is by healing our original core wounds. And one of the ways that we do that is by looking at those very either traumatic, hurtful, wounding experiences that we went through when we were young, when we were children, and understanding what we were meant to learn from it. Where is the wisdom in it? What is it helping us to overcome? How are we to expand our viewpoint and our belief system? Because when you stay in victim consciousness, that this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me, and you are a victim to all of it, then you stay stuck. You stay stuck in your wounding, and you do not expand your consciousness. You do not grow. You do not heal. But when you can soar up higher, like the eagle eye view, and you can look at the circumstances, the things that happened in your life, the most wounded, traumatic, experiences that you have lived through, and you can look at it and say, what has this forced me? Not forced me. What has this given me the opportunity to grow and expand from? So, for example, I'll share with you from my own life. My father just left, and really did not maintain a relationship with us. And so my core wound, and I think we actually have more than one, but my core wound was abandonment. And so what we do unconsciously is that we perpetuate that wound. We abandon ourselves. We abandon ourselves by choosing others who will continue to abandon us. And that can be, yes, physically, geographically, but really what my core wound was, the emotional abandonment, right? And so until we can reach a point where we can look at that wound, that experience, and say, what was it that I chose at a soul level to experience in this life so that I could heal it and grow and expand beyond it? Then that is the key. That is the key. That is Chiron. Because the wounded healer must be wounded before. There is no healing without wounding, right? I mean, what's to heal, right? And so first we get the wound, then we work on the healing. And once we reach a level of consciousness and healing within ourselves, we can then push that out and be a force of healing for others. Whether that is in an active way or that is simply by just showing up as a healed person in all of your relationships, in all of your interactions, right? Because a healed person is not a triggered person. A healed person is a centered person, is a person who can respond instead of react, is a person who doesn't have to take things personally, right? Is a person who can have compassion and forgiveness for another and have a healthy level of detachment as well. And so at the very least, when we heal ourselves, we no longer bleed over everyone else, right? We no longer show up in triggered states with everyone else. It's really very, very beautiful when you look at the whole mythology and the archetype of the wounded healer. This is big energy for us. This Chiron and the moon trining Chiron is so supportive. You are showing up now as this healed sense of self. And there's a beautiful sextile that the moon is making to the sun and Venus. So guess what? The sun, your sense of self, Venus, how you relate to others, you're showing up as your healed self today. And this is the start, right? This is only going to grow in momentum and expansiveness within you. Now, the other aspect that is happening other than the moon today is that Venus is also sextiling Chiron. And again, this is in your relationships. It's within yourself always. The first relationship is with yourself, right? But it is in how you relate to others. And because this is, again, a very supportive aspect, you are showing up as your healed sense of self now. You can show up with compassion and grace, but with strong boundaries on who you are now and how you expect to be treated, how you expect to be spoken to and engaged with, right? How you are showing up in dynamic is much more healed. And yes, that will affect how others show up in dynamic with you. You are embodying the higher vibration now. The other aspect I want to touch upon is that Saturn, again, Saturn is squaring Mercury. And so there may be some energy of having a tough conversation. That may come up for you. Mercury is all about communication, right? Yes, it is how we think, but it is how we communicate in all different ways. And Saturn is accountability, right? That may mean you are taking accountability in a conversation. That may mean you want to call someone else to task and say, listen, I think we need an accountability check here. And so it may play out that way. It may be somewhat of or at least it feels like it's going to be a tough conversation. But remember, it's how you show up in it that is going to lay the groundwork for the energy of that conversation. So you are in control of the energy. Remember that. Don't forget that. And even if it even if the other person in this dynamic wants to take that energy in a different direction, you're still in control of yourself. You're still accountable for yourself. And you choose how you're going to engage. I want to remind you that we have a lot of energy still in Gemini, right? Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. And so remember, Gemini is about choices. One of the many things, right? Choices. Choose how you want to speak, how you want to think, how you want to engage in dynamics with others. Gemini is very social energy. It is very chatty energy. It is the energy of conversations. It is the energy of thinking and communication. And so you get to choose. Don't forget that. You always have a choice, right? I often say, yeah, we always have a choice. They're not always the choices that we would want, but we still have choices, right? And so sometimes we just have to choose the best out of what we are being offered in that moment. Okay, so let's see. I do feel that if there is a tough conversation to be had today on Tuesday, I do feel that it can be very healing, though, with that Venus and Chiron, that sextile between Venus and Chiron. And also, the moon having all of this support of aspects of the sun, which is the self, Venus, which is relating and values, Chiron, which is our healing. And the final aspect on this day with the moon specifically is that the moon is going to be squaring Uranus. And so now the square is that energy of taking action, right? And Uranus wants freedom. Uranus wants truth of the highest order, divine truth. That's truth with a capital T, right? It's not subjective. It's not, well, this is my truth and that's your truth. No, this is the highest level of truth. Like I want, what you want for yourself, and there's really no debating it. And with the moon in Leo, right, that strong sense of self, you may feel like, I am ready to be free. I am ready to be free of X, Y, Z, whatever it is for you. I want more freedom in my life. I want freedom in this relationship. I want freedom from my limiting beliefs. I want freedom from this job. Whatever you are feeling constricted in your life, you're going to want freedom from it now. So take a little time, feel into that. Is there anywhere in your life where you are feeling like you're in a cage? If you feel like you're in a cage, some place in your life, how can you free yourself? How can you be that bird let out of the cage to fly free? Even if you don't know how to open the gate yet, set the intention. Set the intention that you are going to find a way to free yourself. And you will. Okay. So now we're going to move into Wednesday, and the moon moves into Virgo. Now, I want to start by saying the highest expression of Virgo is the healer. Virgo in Latin means virgin. But when we look to the ancient Greeks, that term did not have the connotations that it has today. Now, that doesn't mean that it didn't involve chastity and not having sex, but it was a choice. It was a choice that young women made to be Vestal virgins, okay, where they would choose a life of being a priestess, of tending the fires in a temple of a certain goddess. The Vestal virgins were the goddess Vesta, but this happened all over in different temples with different goddesses. And so this is the life that they chose, and it was from a place of empowerment. They were not being forced into this. This is what they chose. It was a calling. It was a calling. And so this energy of Virgo, Virgin, maiden energy of autonomy and independence, and choosing to devote oneself to their passion, to their calling. That is what I'm talking about here with Virgo and being in her highest expression of the healer. And so we still have this exquisite healing energy into Wednesday. The moon is going to be trining, again, a very supportive aspect to Mars. And that is our masculine energy of taking action, of building those next steps, of actually, and Mars is in Taurus, remember, so this is very grounded, stable energy. Like, okay, let's write it down. Let's map it out. Let's build it. Let's get the supplies and get the hammers and the nails, and let's start building it. And so you may really be feeling that on Wednesday, like, okay, the steps are coming together, and I'm gonna start putting those Legos together, right? Now, the moon is going to be squaring Jupiter. So the only thing I would say here, because Jupiter is the great benefic, it is good fortune and optimism and spirituality and expansion, right? But we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overdo it because Jupiter will expand, and sometimes that can look like too much, right? Where you go to the magnificent feast and you eat too much and now you have a bellyache, right? Or you're gonna go shopping and you get a little out of control and you spent too much, right? So we don't want to do too much building. We don't want to do too much where we are going to feel uncomfortable or a little regretful. So be mindful of that, right? Just be mindful of not going too far with whatever it is that you are building, whatever. And that, you know what, that could also look like you have a lot of energy on Wednesday to move your body. So I would just say, don't overdo it, right? We don't want to pull any muscles. Okay. The other beautiful aspect that is happening on Wednesday is that the sun is sextiling Chiron. Excuse me. And again, sun, sense of self, how you shine, and Chiron, the wounded healer, in a beautiful supportive aspect. I mean, you are just feeling so good in terms of, you know what? I'm not feeling so triggered. I'm feeling like I can show up from my more healed sense of self these days. And doesn't that feel amazing? And so that energy is on tap for Wednesday as well. Okay, so now we're going to move into Thursday, and the moon is still in Virgo, actually through Friday. But on Thursday, we have a little bit of tougher energy, okay? So the moon is going to be across the sky from Saturn, and at the same time going to be squaring Mercury. So to me, this also looks like maybe tough conversations where you're needing to put up some boundaries, taking some accountability, being responsible, maybe talking about obligations, And look, these are not like the most fun conversations to have, but they are necessary. It's like, you know what it is? Thursday's like the adulting day, okay? Let's put it that way. We're gonna have to like step up a little and adult on Thursday. And that may look like, those conversations that we don't really want to have, but we know we have to have them, okay? The thing about the moon squaring Mercury is the moon is the heart and Mercury is the mind. And so there might be this tension, okay? There might be this tension between your heart and your head. And if you are feeling that, if you are feeling this tension between your heart and your head, the push and pull, you're not really sure, you don't have clarity on that, or you're feeling something in your heart and your head is telling you, no, 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 no. I want you to drop into your breath. I want you to deepen and slow your breath. You know that belly breathing that I always teach? You take the breath in through your nose, you fill up your belly, and then you want to slowly, slowly exhale out again through your nose. And drop into that deep, slow breathing so that you can quiet that mind and just focus on your breath. Because if you're feeling a push and a pull between the head and the heart, the mind is going to drop into ego and likely fear and want to shut down the heart. Now, I'm not saying just drop into your heart and let the heart run away with the whole show. I'm saying that you don't want to make a decision from a place of confusion. So if you are feeling sad, if you are feeling confused, drop into your breath and know that you don't have to make a decision today, right? And you can ask for clarity, ask your higher self. The truth is that compassion, kindness, forgiveness, you will never go wrong by choosing any of those things, coupled with a healthy boundary for yourself. That is the magic recipe for everything in life. You will never regret that. You will never hurt yourself or anyone else if you couple compassion for another with a healthy boundary for yourself. No one loses. That's a win-win. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. Okay, so let's move into Friday. Friday, the moon is still in Virgo, and I am feeling the word for Friday is truth. Truth. The moon is squaring Venus and the sun. Venus, how we relate, our values, our relationships. The sun, our sense of self. And it's in that square, that hard aspect with the moon. And that's our inner emotional world. And so maybe we are being asked to take action on those relationships that are challenging us. The moon is trining Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. Truth, truth, and truth. Jupiter wants truth from a spiritual perspective, having faith, and optimistic truth. Uranus wants truth from the divine mind. It wants freedom, and it wants truth from the false, the lies, the limiting beliefs that keep us bound. And Pluto wants truth too. Pluto wants the truth to come out, to be unearthed, so that we can move forward. We cannot move forward if we cannot see the truth and acknowledge the truth and accept it. The moon is across the sky from Neptune on Friday. And so we are being asked in a very significant way to trust our intuition today. In Moon School, we talked about this over the weekend, and we are all really strengthening our ability to trust our intuition. And part of that process is to stop doubting ourselves, to stop gaslighting ourselves. When you get that gut feeling, that intuitive hit, trust it. Do not let your mind talk down to your intuitive voice. Your intuitive voice is your divine feminine energy. And when you gaslight that and you say, oh, I'm just being crazy, or I'm just being, overly hopeful that that's going to be the thing that is how it's going to play out. No, your intuitive voice is your divine feminine energy. It is your higher self speaking to you. It is your connection to source energy. There is no greater truth. Do not trust it, and stop gaslighting both yourself and the source energy within you. We have all been taught time and again since we were very young not to trust that voice, because there's no proof, right? There's no evidential proof. Not everything in this life can be proven through science, through math, through visual evidence, right? There's so much more to this existence than what can be proven. And so we need to start honoring this beautiful, incredibly truthful, energetic aspect of who we are at our core. Everyone has this within them. And so Friday is a day. Trust your gut feeling. Trust that intuitive voice that is telling you something. Whatever it is for you, whatever you are sensing is true or not true. Do not gaslight yourself. You honor it, and if need be, you advocate for yourself. Okay. On Saturday, the word is clarity, because the moon is in Libra on Saturday, and that is an air sign. And the air signs are all about the mind. And so I'm really feeling that Saturday and Sunday, we are being asked to really quiet the noise. Okay, quiet the noise and seek clarity. There's a lot of air energy on Saturday. It's not exact, but it is close to a grand trine of energies that are in Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And so the moon is actually going to trine Jupiter on Saturday. And I am feeling like this is just so optimistic about your future path. That is how we are feeling, like we're getting excited for what's coming, for those next steps on our path. And the moon is opposite the North Node in the sky. And so again, the North Node is that destined path forward. And with Jupiter trining the moon, it's like, yes, let's expand. Let's have faith in our destined path forward. so much beautiful good fortune is coming. Really tap into that energy. Be open to receiving it. And, the moon is also conjunct the south node. And so remember, the south node is what we're releasing. It's what we're done with. We've graduated from that, and so we can move on from it now. So we're feeling like we really know what we're ready to move on from, what we're ready to release and just be done with. We have a lot of clarity around that with the moon in Libra. If you're feeling indecisive, drop into the breath. Air sign, Libra, drop into the breath. Take in that air. Let that air bring clarity to your mind by quieting the mind and focusing on the breath. Because you are ready to let go of what you're just simply done with energetically. It's just, when you're done with something, right? We all know. The sun is sextiling Chiron on Saturday. So again, I can't overemphasize the energy this week, right? It is your healed sense of self. It's just so magnificent. It really is so beautiful. So drop into the breath if you need to. Conjure up that vision of yourself, that healed sense of self, that's strong, confident, optimistic, clear-headed, empowered sense of self. Because he or she is ready to move forward down that yellow brick road. On Sunday, more beautiful energy with the moon. The moon is going to now be trining the sun. So again, that outward sense of self, the confidence, the self-esteem, in a supportive aspect with the moon in Libra, you are feeling balanced. You are feeling clear-headed, decisive, fair and just sense of self. And the moon is across the sky from Chiron. And so we are feeling that healed sense of self. We are embodying that healed sense of self. Now, I do want to end with, on Sunday, Venus. Venus is going to be at 29 degrees of Gemini. And you'll hear me from time to time talk about the 29th degree, which is this degree of graduation. It is a culmination point. It is a point of mastery. And sometimes it is a point of crisis. And what I mean by crisis is it's like, it's very loud because it's trying to get your attention. And so Venus at 29 degrees in Gemini is squaring Neptune, which is hanging out at 29 degrees of Pisces. Both very mutable energy, Gemini and Pisces, very changeable, right? Like you cannot pin it down, okay? Venus, our values, our sense of worth, our sense of value of ourselves, our self-love, and how we relate to others is squaring Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees. And so what I want you to be aware of on Sunday, and it may be building Saturday, but definitely on Sunday, trust your intuition. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled by the rose-colored glasses. Okay, take those off right now. Maybe somebody else is trying to put the rose-colored glasses on the situation, right? Someone you're relating to. Maybe they're trying to blow smoke in the mirror so you can't really see what's going on. They're making it foggy for you. What I am saying is do not fall for someone else's victim mentality, right? that they want you to feel sorry for them. They want you to sympathize and empathize at your own expense for them. No, no, no. We are not falling for it. Sorry. Take off the rose-colored glasses. Do not fall into victim mindset, and do not let others project their victim mindset onto you, trying to evoke your sympathy and guilt you. We are not having it. Our strong sense of healed self, we're not falling for that anymore. And do not gaslight yourself. Do not allow others to gaslight you. Do not gaslight yourself. Trust your intuition, and if it feels like it's not truth, or you're just not resonating with it, then move on. Shut it down. Shut down the conversation. Say, you know what? I'm not going to engage in this right now. I'm sorry. Remember what I said earlier. You can have compassion, but you have to stay strong in your boundaries. You don't have to come at somebody with, aggression to defend yourself. That's the old way. The new way, the healed way, your healed self-confidence, sense of self, knows how to both have compassion and kindness for another, no matter how they're showing up, but also have fierce boundaries for yourself. We can do both. We can do both. We can hold both energies because we are now embodying this stronger, more healed sense of self. So you can show kindness. You can lead with love, as one of my moon sisters says, but you can also maintain and uphold your strong boundaries for yourself and advocate what is best for you. We can do both. This is our next level. We are mastering this now, and it is magnificent to behold. This is a super powerful week. Stepping into your healed sense of self now. Really love on yourself. Take notice of this week. Take notice of yourself and how you're showing up now. Come into the breath if you need it. But just know you have been doing the work and it is paying off. You are expanding. You are growing. You are healing. And now you are really embodying this new energy. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of us. I want to thank you so much for listening this week to my podcast. Please like this video, share it with anyone who you feel could use this information to feel empowered and to feel guided and supported this week. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you can, leave a brief little comment. It really helps the channel to grow and be seen by others. I am wishing you a magnificently healing and empowered week ahead. See you soon under the moon. Bye-bye for now.